And they remain standing here for the most part at Fenway Park as Williams hits probably for the last time in a Boston uniform in this ballpark. Pilarczyk back to the wall. There's a drive to deep right center. This may be gone. Brad way back there watching. Home run, Ted
Williams. Random House Audio presents Ted Williams, The Biography of an American Hero, by Leigh Montville. Read for you by Philip Bosco. The fame of Ted Williams in Boston and in much of the country during his baseball life was different from the fame of today. The perpetual left fielder, the Red Sox, was famous in a time when heroes were constructed with the imagination and with words, rather than force-fed and sold through a 21-inch or 56-inch color screen. The tape measure of the normal did not exist. He did things once, and you saw them once in person, or heard them once on the radio, or read about them forever. The few pictures at the start of his career in 1939 that came onto the movie screen during the Warner Pathé News before the feature film at the Downtown Theater were herky-jerky images, black and white, Ted Williams obviously posing for his swing before the ball game began, sometimes not even in the batter's box. Perfect lighting, crack! Then everything turned grainy and too fast as the hard-to-see ball traveled over a grainy fence and he ran the bases in a speeded-up hurry. Even the pictures at the end on television, 1960, were not much better. For virtually all of Ted Williams's 19 big league years, the assembled folk at the ballpark had to report to friends and neighbors what they had seen him do. There was no replay. There was no highlights package at 11. How far did that ball go? How mighty was that swing? How mad exactly did the Splendid Splinter become? The voices of Kurt Gowdy and other broadcasters had to explain. The sets of fingers on the typewriters in the press box, each set lined up in direct competition with all the other sets of fingers in the press box, had to find phrases and sentences, cockamamie analogies, to translate and reconstruct reality for the general public's edification. Word of mouth had to carry the brush fires further. He was the famous Ted Williams from the time he was 17, no more than 18 years old. The famous life was the only adult life he ever knew. From the time he joined the hometown San Diego Padres in the Pacific Coast League, he still hadn't graduated from Hoover High School, until the day he died in Hernando, Florida, 83 years old. He was the prize pumpkin at the county fair, prodded and pushed, examined, greeted with oohs and ahs. Because he could hit a baseball, an athletic feat in the national consciousness, second only to knocking out a string of heavyweight contenders at the time, he could go where he wanted to go, do what he wanted to do. There might be a hassle involved, a crowd of bug-eyed gawkers and talkers in attendance, but he could be his own man. A latchkey child from a broken home, unencumbered by an adolescence filled with parental do's and don'ts, he was raw and basic and naive when he arrived in the spotlight. No one had ever told him what to do in the past, and now, no matter how many people told him, he really didn't have to listen. What if all the necessities are covered by the single ability to swing a 32-ounce bat and hit a 5-ounce ball? You grow or you don't grow exactly in the ways you want. No one could swear as well as Ted. Not only were the words showstoppers, words like cocksucker, dropped freely with F-bombs and modified with his favorite adjective, syphilitic, but there was a way he swore that made his outbursts special. He strung the words together to make elaborate, rococo, profane poetry. For Williams, the language of the dugout was his language of the restaurant, the living room, the neighborhood store. That was simply the way he was. The social muffler that most people use, the one that keeps them from asking a second cousin to pass the fucking potatoes at Thanksgiving, never was developed. He preened, he pouted, He could be unbelievably kind, especially with money. He could be cold and remote. Women were a constant problem. A joy, a nuisance, a mystery, a lower life form put on earth mostly to entertain and complain. He was brilliant. He was dense. He was conservative, red, white, and blue. He still could have tons of liberal thoughts. He was an American hero, no doubt about that. A picture on a bedroom wall. He also could do things that were much less than heroic, everyday surrenders in everyday affairs. He was Ted Williams. He could hit a ball. More than anything, he could hit a baseball. He was famous. 3 wives, 2 wars, 19 years in the major leagues. That was only a start. He found his way to his own complicated Oz. He then had to stay there for all of his life. Take away the Burger Kings and the Midas muffler shops and the 24-hour pay-and-go convenience gas stations. Take away 4 of the 6 lanes on El Cajon Boulevard. Take away most of the cars, too, for that matter. Take away the fat concrete walls that make up the modern Hoover High, no windows anywhere, and replace them with a more gentle architecture from a more gentle time. The old San Diego still sits there. Population 100,000, maybe 150,000 tops. Fresh air that you could breathe. People who would say hello, and you'd say hello back. Everyone knowing everyone else, everyone knowing everyone else's business. Take away the metropolis. Population 1,223,400. The freeways with their important numbers, the 5 and the 8 and the 805 and all the rest. The old San Diego still is underneath. The sun is up. The time is 5 minutes to 8, and the tall, skinny neighbor kid is coming down the sidewalk from his home at 4212 Utah Street toward Joe Villarino's house at 4335 Oregon. Every day, clockwork. He already is a presence. The tall, skinny neighbor kid, loud in what he says, animated, almost goofy. He has opinions and dreams and confidence. Joe was waiting for him on the steps of 4335 Oregon. Ted Williams would be here. Every day. "I'd be right outside," Joe, now 85 years old, says. Off they go to Garfield Elementary School. The tall kid is excited. If they get there early, they'll be first in line when the big playground box is opened. They can take out the bats and the balls and get to work. The tall kid already has his glove, ready to go. "This was a reservoir," Villarino continues, pointing towards a large park. "There were dirt embankments on the sides. The whole thing was covered with boards. I don't know what happened to the reservoir. When we played baseball down there, I made money by going onto the boards to get the foul balls." The park, North Park, was the starting point. The field, it is called Ted Williams Field now, was where the baseballs first started to fly over a short right field fence. This was the tall, skinny kid's laboratory. From his porch on Utah Street, a block and a half away, you can see the baseball lights. Add some good year-round California weather, add a lot of free time, add a lot of desperation, drive, whatever you want to call it. The yearning to step out of stifling circumstance. The result would knock the American League on its well-established keister. Williams was the Huckleberry Finn character of this modest neighborhood, the undisciplined roamer, the kid who didn't have to be home at any particular time. Born on April 30th, 1918, named Teddy after Teddy Roosevelt, a name Williams later formalized to Theodore Samuel Williams, he and his brother Danny were caught in the cold climate of a bad marriage. Their father Sam was a photographer who left for work early and stayed late and didn't smile much at home, a drinker. Their mother, May Venza Williams, was a religious zealot. She was always working for the Lord, for the Salvation Army. May Venza Williams was the dominant figure in Ted Williams's young life, or maybe the dominant non-figure. She fell in love with the Salvation Army when she was very young, Her nephew, Manny Herrera, says, "That early..."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?